Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hat Trick Podcast, episode number 3. I am Joe Berg, alongside Nick DiCostanzo, and finally, Nick Falato. He's finally here.
I am here. How are we doing today, Joey and Nick?
I'm doing great.
Very excited to have the three of us back together.
Yes.
Long time coming, but in a stressful finals week.
We
got snow on the ground. We got a lot to deal with.
There's a lot of snow here. I just woke up and it was all over the ground. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But
I couldn't believe it.
How many times did we try to record and the station here at the radio?
Yeah. Well, this is technically episode number 3 right now. This should be episode, like 7 by now? Yeah.
6 or 7.
I was
We've tried to do
7 or
3 or
8
4. And it just,
especially if it continued to work, we probably would have had a bigger will to even do more. You know, we could have done
Exactly.
maybe like
That's
10
true.
by now. Next semester, hopefully, a little better.
now we have a garage band.
Now we have garage band, so that's good.
That's all we got.
We should learn how to use Audacity as well.
We should, definitely.
I could teach you how to use Audacity.
Just for some tools.
Well, we can do that, yes.
Some editing.
Amazing.
But hopefully the initial problem with the station itself corrects, because that's not many people know how to do what we're doing right now. So you know what I mean?
No.
It would be good if the initial problem initiates, but that's not what we're here to talk about now, is it?
No, it is not.
We're
not here to talk about technical.
We are the Hat Trick Podcast. We are sports talk originators, the original members, the founding fathers, if you will, of Florham Campus
really
Radio.
are. Except this isn't even Florham Campus Radio
It's
anymore.
not. No, you're right. Now it's the Hat Trick Podcast. But I mean, if you think about it, the theme has stayed. It's been the three of us since the beginning. Talk about in a format that we broadcast information in the same concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we put our cool spin on it. It's a good
we
time.
put our spin on it. It's
Yeah.
very authentic, extremely
Very.
authentic. There's no editing here. It's three guys in a radio station, in a college right now, talking about sports and what we think about the world of sports. It's very exciting. It's good stuff.
So, speaking of the world of sports, why don't we jump into it?
Well, I'm ready for it.
I say we start with what happened last night.
I actually was going to
things happened
open
last
with a new segment.
Okay, let's open
Nick, I believe you want a new segment on the show.
Oh yeah, I mean a work in progress, but
It
I
is
feel
a
like
work
I
in
feel like
progress.
that happens when we get to that sport, because they always come back to haunt. Am I right? I mean, it happens every night. It didn't happen last night though, surprisingly.
Wow, really?
In the,
who were the
Rangers-
ones on watch?
Well,
Brassard?
Zibanejad injured, of course, but Brassard is the other man made for that trade. Let's see, did we have anybody else on Ottawa? I don't believe we did.
No, I don't.
Is there
think we
anybody
did.
else on Ottawa that was on the Rangers? I don't believe so anymore. Hello. But it does happen every night, though. I mean, it really does happen. It happens, in all sports. It's not just hockey. I notice it more in hockey because I kind of me and my family, we pay more attention to that.
Right.
But, like, Paul George, for example, could have been an explanation, but he didn't come back to haunt. Victor Oladipo, if anything, last night did, in fact, for OKC. He was on 1 year. But I do have a Twitter page, in fact, dedicated to this. So let me pull up and let me show you how frequently it happens. Because I'm sure it even did happen last night that I didn't even know. Oh, Boyle against the Kings. When was the Devil King game? Tuesday, I believe. What are we at? Thursday? That was on Tuesday.
Today is Thursday. Yeah. So on Tuesday, did he
Tuesday,
score?
The Devil Kings. Brian Boyle against the Kings. That was one big one. I know Mike Smith shut out the Coyotes, I believe, a few weeks ago. I'm not getting internet, of course, but I'm loading it.
Any during the week? You got to go through the whole week.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
I'll even go back as we go, but I got to connect to secure again first, because Wi-Fi on this campus is awful, to say the least.
To say the least, yeah.
I mean, damn.
I agree with that. While we look this up, Nick,
What's up, bro?
you wanted to talk about the Rangers loss.
I did want to talk about the Rangers loss because this Metropolitan Division is absolutely
Can't afford to be losing
ridiculous.
games like
You
this.
cannot be losing games to a team like the Senators, who have won, 2 of the last 10 games that they were in.
And then we beat the Devils 5-2 like they didn't even belong in our building.
This team is...
I don't understand.
It's
I really
just,
don't.
and I know Kincaid was in net for that, but this team is just so inconsistent. When's the last time we've seen the Rangers come out strong and score first?
I don't. The more I watch the Rangers, Nick, let me tell you, I feel like we're very lackadaisical out of the start, and then it's like, all right, let's find our game here. And then when we have to, we just turn it on in the second and third period. Honestly, I have mixed reactions about it, because I don't like that we just sit back in the first. We get destroyed in the beginning of the game. Dallas outshoots us last time we played them during the week, 33-10 through 2 periods.
Oh
that's,
my!
That's horrible. That's embarrassing. How do you expect to put up a fight with 10 shots on goal through 2 periods? And the backup goaltender Andre Pavlik's got to make 44 saves in a shootout loss.
Yeah, we deserve to lose it. Just to get a point out of that game was something
He
amazing.
definitely stole a point out of that game.
He sure did. He sure did.
It's just like this team doesn't necessarily have this stone cold identity that we want to see. We see so many defensive mistakes between them of relying so heavily on these goaltenders. We've seen Hank struggle because of that, and it's getting really frustrating because this might be the 7th-year streak going out the window for us.
You think so?
It could be. I mean, look at the Metropolitan Division.
Yeah, look at the Metro. You're getting 5 teams in the Metropolitan Division.
Exactly.
You are.
I think the Atlantic Division is terrible, and that's really going to help the Rangers out. But again, there's still plenty of hockey to be played. But you got the Blue Jackets, the Capitals, the Devils, the Islanders, the Penguins, and the Flyers, who have won 4 in a row. Now I know we're not even
count out
we're
Carolina.
not even mid-season yet, but still. You need to win games against teams like the Senators.
These are the teams you're going to see down the stretch as we get closer to the playoff time. You're going to see the similar teams. And I agree, don't count out Carolina.
But we beat the Penguins, and then we lose to Ottawa.
That's my point. It's not consistent.
Also, Nick, I don't know if we've talked about it since that game, but I remember me and Joe did do a show on that Ranger and Penguins game, and when I tell you we stole, not only did Pavlik steal 1 point against the Stars, we stole 2 points from Pittsburgh in that game because that was some brutal New York Ranger hockey. I don't even know if that was New York Ranger hockey that I was watching. Absolutely horrible, but somehow we come out with a victory.
And that's kind of the way you're looking at it as a fan. Is we're just sitting here crossing our fingers, being like, "I hope we get lucky, get that lucky bounce, and hopefully we can hold on to a lead." Which is something we've struggled with over the last 5 seasons.
You talk about puck luck, you talk about a game of inches, and yeah, sure, and screw the Rangers button, of course, too.
Yes,
but I mean, it's gotta come back to the Rangers eventually, right? You'd like to think, and I mean, it did in that game. But if this is what I'm going to see in a 7-game playoff series in April, it's not going to last 7 games.
I don't know. I'm worried about this season. I really am.
I thought those worries were done, and apparently they're not yet.
Who's the favorite right now, Nikki, in your opinion, from the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference? Would it be someone like
from the East? I mean,
Blue Jackets or the Lightning?
With the amount of hockey that's been played, it's very hard to count out the Tampa Bay Lightning. I would say from the East, the Columbus Blue Jackets, I agree with. And I mean, I know they're only in a wild card spot now, but how about the Washington Capitals or the Pittsburgh Penguins? Maybe. I feel like the Capitals are going to have similar struggles to the past. They don't. I feel like they don't have that much pressure on them this year, but that could be easily flipped because maybe the pressure is still on Alexander Ovechkin because he hasn't gotten there yet. But favorite out of the East, I would say Tampa right now. I mean, it's hard. Kucherov, this kid's got 20 goals already.
You want to know an interesting thing?
Yeah.
We all say the pressure's on Alexander Ovechkin, but Alexander Ovechkin is only a forward. He's only out there for, 20, 23 minutes a night, something along those lines?
Yeah, something.
Why don't we put it on Holtby?
It's a good question. I mean, Holtby, he is a little inconsistent, and he matured a lot as a goaltender.
No, he has. He's much better than he was.
He was in that phase a few years ago, if you guys remember, when if he let in a quick goal, quick into the period or even into the game or something like that, he was out. His mindset was out, and he would never adjust to it, and then teams would take advantage of that. But, I mean, he has matured a little bit. He is an elite goaltender, I will say that.
Yeah.
And I still have – I think Holtby can only do so much. And Ovechkin obviously does as much as – I don't know. Why isn't the blame on Holtby? Maybe he meets his end of the bargain. But then again, it's really hard to say Ovechkin doesn't.
I mean, last playoffs, it was a little weird because we saw him get put on the third line. His minutes get scaled back significantly, and we all thought it might have been the decline, and he's come out this season on fire.
Absolutely.
He picked up right where he
is he still top 5 in goal scoring?
Definitely top 5. I think he's top 2.
3?
He's top 2 with him and Kucherov.
It's like every other day he's getting a hat trick.
I thought Kucherov was 1 because we saw the stat during the game.
Yeah,
Kucherov was 1, Grabner was 2.
They both have – no, that was for something different. Ovechkin's definitely got 20.
Oh, that was 5-on-5.
Yeah, that was even strength. Kucherov, I believe Kucherov has 21. Ovechkin might have 20, something like that. They both have 20. I will look it up, though.
Yeah, but it's a wild time, and the Rangers.
And then Michael Grabner's in there.
Rangers got an important weekend too ahead of them.
They do.
Who do we have coming up?
We have the Kings and Boston. Well, we have Boston and then the Kings, and then we have the Ducks too.
Anaheim as well, and then I believe Toronto the Saturday before Christmas, the 23rd. That is, we have home. We have the Maple Leafs at home, and so Austin Matthews in Madison Square Garden.
This was not a good way to start.
No, it was not.
Against our conference rivals, but not our division rivals, and losing to a team like the Senators, coming off of a road trip, who were incredibly weak at the time.
Right.
Is this mic screwing up?
Every once in a while, yeah. I can hear it though. So
hey guys, I got the crappy mic. Just letting you know if I cut in and out. But yeah, no man, you'll look across to the Knicks too, man. I mean,
what about the Knicks?
Oh man,
the Knicks.
What about the Knicks?
When they beat the Lakers on primetime in ESPN, I felt like it was not a changing of the guard, but I felt a warm and comfy feeling seeing Nico DiCostanzo out there in big minutes, important minutes in overtime and in the fourth quarter to have them secure a victory. Now, I know we saw them last weekend. We all watched it together lose to the Bulls on the road. This team has only won one road game. They're going to need to fix that. But at the Garden, beating Lonzo Ball coming in, nationally televised game against a high-profile opponent, and having Porzingis and Ntilikina play significant minutes to secure that victory. I want to pose this question to you. Now, this is very hypothetical, more than likely will never happen. 6 years from now,
oh my God,
the Knicks are one of the powerhouse teams. They surround themselves with plenty of talent, and it's led by Porzingis and Ntilikina. What's Phil Jackson's reputation viewed like?
I still think it's managed, it's maintained well because of the legacy he left before he came to New York.
No,
oh, you mean by drafting these two players?
How will Knicks fans view Phil Jackson?
Knicks fans are going to hate Phil Jackson for as long as he lives.
Yeah.
See, I agree with that, but what if the Ntilikina and Porzingis, two guys that he drafted, end up
doing well?
Killing
and then Knicks fans look like...
Do we forget that?
Like idiots, honestly, because...
But if we're one of the powerhouses after drafting those two players, whoever just came in is going to be viewed higher, definitely, because he made this team the powerhouse.
Steve Mills and Scott Perry.
Right. Yeah.
He's not going to get much recognition. You're not going to say, "Oh yeah, Phil Jackson drafted him," because look at all the other controversial things that Phil Jackson have done.
That's my point. I'm wondering if Knicks fans will forget all that controversy. No, I'm not going to forget it because I sit here and I do a talk show.
Knowing New York fans, I don't believe so. I think everybody's going to curse his name ever if he's ever referred to.
I used to actually like watching the Knicks. I would watch them a lot, but once I started getting into basketball and knowing that we needed to get rid of Carmelo, I refused to watch them until they traded him. Or got rid of him.
I was gonna say, to your point, again, beating the Lakers. Congratulations, you are the better of the 2 8 seeds we will see in this year's playoffs.
Ooh, hopefully,
if the Knicks make the playoffs, because let's face it, you guys both are in very similar situations. Yes, terrible is very well put along those lines. But it's,
still in rebuild mode.
I mean, again,
terrible but exciting. At least the Knicks are fun to watch this year.
Yeah.
I feel like shedding Carmelo kind of gave this team more purity.
Yeah, it dumped him to OKC.
It really did.
What's going on with the Thunder?
Yeah,
Yikes.
Carmelo's not that good. I know he's not that good.
I've been saying this for a little bit. They should take him out of the starting lineup and I've heard Francesa say this, so this isn't an uncommon opinion, but they should take him out of the starting five, put him on that second unit, so you can utilize his skill set, which is an offensive weapon. His defense doesn't have to be as relied upon because he's playing against quote-unquote inferior talent.
Right.
And then he could just be a spark plug off the bench. You only need one superstar to start, and you have Paul George, so you can start those two. But we saw them go to the playoffs last year with just Russell Westbrook.
Yep.
You have George and Westbrook have that first unit, Melo off the bench. I think that makes so much sense. I don't know why you're starting an aging Melo with those two. There's one basketball.
I agree, and that was a huge question coming into this season, was how are they going to operate with each other with only one basketball, because it seems that they all want the ball at all times, and I don't think Melo I don't think Melo is the same player as he once was.
Of course
I
not.
also perhaps do not think that Paul George is playing up to expectations as well. You're looking at a guy who I think was at least a finalist for MVP in 2013, 2014 when the Pacers were the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. But for some reason, I don't think his game is anywhere near that anymore, which is upsetting because I get how great of a player he really was. Very all-around player. And
See, when I think about like Paul George, though, his usage rate with the Pacers was probably 32%, like some ridiculous percentage.
Yeah,
Now it's probably down at like 20%.
Yeah.
It's dropped significantly. He doesn't have he has to be more efficient. Oh, we got some tunes bumping.
What is going on?
Tunes, baby.
What just happened?
I don't know.
The station, we have service, it looks like.
We have service on the station.
Wow.
It took that long.
Wow.
That's so odd. That's so random.
The station.
Anyways,
We probably wouldn't even be able to go live. That's the thing.
I'm not going to test it.
Well,
I'm
not either because we got
We're already halfway through.
the recording
we're
going
still
through
live,
just
too.
fine.
How about that? All right.
Yeah, we got it going through just fine. What are we? 15 minutes in? Oh wow, that was quick.
Yeah, that was...
So
15
what do we
minutes in?
Yeah, what do we got to talk about Carson Wentz and the Eagles, and are they still realistically going to get anywhere close to making the Super Bowl, let alone winning it? Now that Nick Foles is their starting quarterback, what do you think?
I mean, I was hoping that they would just crash and burn with Carson Wentz as their quarterback. It's a big gap between, but Nick Foles is a reliable backup quarterback. Now, is he going to try to do this Jeff Hostetler and do what the Giants did back in 1990 and run the table through the playoffs? I think that remains to be seen. I think the NFC is too strong for that, especially when you think of Halapuli Vatai and their left tackle right now with Jason Peters being out. I think there's just a little bit too many issues on that team that Carson Wentz kind of masked. So, no, I do not think they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
I didn't think this team. I still don't think this team is good, but I didn't think they were that good with Wentz. I just thought they were beating dumpster fire teams like the Giants, like the 49ers, and then playing okay against teams that are above 500. They're what? 2-1 against teams above 500 this year?
Yeah, I mean, you got to play who's on your
three
schedule.
teams. Yeah, I mean, obviously that doesn't mean they're not whatever their record is. What is it right now? Let me pull up the standings. What week are we in?
I mean, they won last week. They should be 11-2, right?
11-2. Standings. This is terrible. Oh my goodness. NFL Mobile, not a good app. I will say that.
The Eagles are.
They're 11-2.
Yeah, they're 11-2. You got the Rams at 9-4, who lost to the Eagles this week. The Vikings just lost to Carolina, who are 10-3, and then the Saints and the Panthers are tied in the NFC South at 9-4. So the Eagles are going to get a first round bye. They just need to win one game to clinch that. Now, will they get home field advantage throughout? Depends on if Nick Foles can win some of these games against the Giants and these lesser teams, the Skins, teams like that. When I look at the Eagles, though, they're going to have a tough road going through teams and defenses like the Vikings, like the Saints defense, the Panthers if they make it. The NFC is so contentious right now. They're all very good teams that are going to make the playoffs. But you look at the AFC.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah, the AFC has some inferior talent. Like the Titans, that's like the worst 8-5 team I have ever seen in my life, and they're probably going to get in the wild card.
I think the Jaguars are my sleeper team.
I mean,
Do not count out these Jaguars because this defense is absolutely crazy.
They're very legit. They're a very good defense.
Ramsey's definitely one of the best corners in the league.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, in my opinion, right now, unless the Chargers maintain this incredibly hot streak, the only teams that are coming out of the AFC are the Patriots or the Steelers. Now, the Chargers are a team I'm not going to sleep on because they have been incredibly hot. Remember, they started the year 0-4. And they're 7-6 right now, tied with the Chiefs, and they play the Chiefs this week. So if they beat them in Arrowhead, they're going to take the top of the AFC West. Now it's going to be a tough road, not having a first round bye though.
That is a big game.
Oh, that's a huge game.
That's probably the biggest game of the year so far, because the Chiefs. I was big on the Chiefs at the beginning of the year. I was jumping on their bandwagon, but it's crazy. I think there's going to be at least 2 teams with 10 wins that miss the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think that in the NFC.
Yeah,
I think that's going to happen.
Legitimately, you look at the Falcons, the Seahawks, who are vying for that last wild card team.
And don't count out Green Bay.
You got Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers coming back. You got the Lions at 7-6. Those guys are outsiders looking in right now.
Yeah.
One of the Seahawks or the Falcons or the Panthers, if they really slip up, or even the Saints if they incredibly slip up, are not going to make the playoffs. Now, the Saints got the Jets this week without McCown, so that's huge.
I have a question.
What's up, bro?
Is Aaron Rodgers' return big enough? Is he just in time to save Green Bay for the playoffs?
He's going to need a lot of things to happen.
Does Green Bay have tiebreakers over any of the NFC teams up for the wild card?
Let's check their schedule.
Pull that up real quick, because what I would say to that question is, if he has,
No, they don't.
they don't hold their own destiny.
The Seahawks is the only team they have the tiebreaker over, but the Seahawks are going to have to lose a couple games.
Yeah, the Seahawks, because right now,
and the Falcons beat the Packers in week 3 or 4. So
there's 3 games left in the season.
There's 4 games left.
4 games left.
No, there's 3 games.
3 games, because 6 losses, 7 wins.
Yeah, 10-6.
Yeah, so
the Panthers.
This is what I think.
They got the Panthers, the Vikings, and the Lions. 2 division games. So those can be tricky.
Wow.
And we know he got hurt against the Vikings too.
Well, I don't think the Panthers are legitimate this year. Honestly, I just think that I don't think Cam Newton is going to be able to take this team to the Super Bowl again. But don't count them out, because they do have some very nice talent over there. Obviously, Cam Newton's good, but now that they got McCaffrey back there, and not, what's his name, Jonathan Stewart. I know Carolina fans love him, but he's really not a guy that you want.
I mean, Jay Stu scored 3 touchdowns last week, though, so he's still used. He plays about 50% of the snaps there. They split. But
it's a lot more dynamic now, and that's what makes them a little scary. But I just don't think that defense. I think their secondary is a little suspect.
It is a little suspect, yes.
And I think once we get to playoffs, the teams with big wide receivers, not even big names, just good receiving cores. Like Seattle has a very good, very underrated receiving core, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think they'd get picked apart by them in the playoffs. But definitely don't count out Detroit either, because Matt Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yes.
I've thought this for a few years. I honestly don't know why they're having a terrible year.
The Lions, I mean, they've had some injuries on their offensive line. Taylor Decker came back from his shoulder surgery about halfway through the season. They haven't had a running game in forever. When's the last time they had a 100-yard rusher? Amir Abdullah.
So kind of like the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, it's all Matt Stafford, and their defense is pretty. They're decent, but they've kind of been a little inconsistent this season in stopping the run.
I feel like they've aged too. Like,
I mean, Darius Slay is one of the best corners in the league. I think they got a lot of young linebackers.
Do they still have? Oh my God, I can't even remember his name, so I'm not going to bring it up. But what teams do you think missed the playoffs in the NFC?
I mean, let's look at the schedules. The Panthers have an Aaron Rodgers Packers coming to town, and then they have the Buccaneers, a winnable game, and then a game that might determine who goes to the playoffs in Week 17, which is the Panthers and the Falcons. And then you look at the Falcons' schedule. They have Monday Night Football against Tampa Bay this week, and then obviously Week 17, they have to play the Panthers, which again could be a play-in game, and then they have the Saints in between that, another game which could be highly contended. That just won last week against the Saints. They put those 2 games at the end of the season. And this division is still up for grabs between the Saints, Panthers, and the Falcons. When I look, I don't realistically think the Lions and the Packers are going to go to the playoffs. I think that last wild card spot's going to be between the Falcons and the Seahawks as we look at it right now. But that could easily be the Panthers and the Seahawks if the Falcons get hot and start winning some of these games. And look at the Saints. The Saints are sitting there at 9-4 right now.
Saints are a scary team. The Saints are a scary team. Drew Brees will pick apart any defense, especially.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they haven't even really. That's not even their MO this year.
No, it's not.
No, they run the football.
No, they're ground and pound right now.
And they have the Jets this week, which they should take care of easily, and then you have the Falcons and the Buccaneers. So they're all division games for the NFC South. The NFC South is very, very interesting this year.
It is. It's going to be a very, very close race. I don't know.
Then you have the Cowboys too.
I would say
we're still in it.
No.
They're 7-6 right now. I don't think they will,
No.
but they're in it as well.
Okay, so don't count out Arizona.
Are they 7-6?
They're 6-7.
No, they're done. They're done.
I know.
Once you get to that 7th in the NFC, that 7th loss, you're done. Cowboys have the Raiders Sunday Night Football, and they have the Seahawks, which could be a very important game, and then the Eagles, which could be a nothing game for the Eagles, where they could start whoever their third string, Nate Sudfeld.
Losing to Jacksonville was not good for Seattle. It was very bad for Seattle.
Yeah,
Russell it was
Wilson
great for the
almost won
league
that game.
because he almost did, yeah. But, Jacksonville's defense, don't count them out. That made the NFC so much tighter, because then Seattle would be looking at, instead of being 8-5, they'd be, 9-4. Atlanta would then be the wild card team.
Yeah, there's
Every game. This is why I said it at the beginning of the season. I'll say it now. Every game is so important.
no doubt.
Especially
It's football, yeah.
Especially in the NFL because there's only 16 games. If you have 162 in baseball?
Yep.
Yeah, every game matters, but if you lose if you miss the playoffs by 1 or 2 games, those 1 or 2 games could have come anywhere. In the NFL, when you say you missed it by 1 game, that 1 game could have been a team you should have beaten, Jacksonville. If you say an MVP candidate for in Russell Wilson, and he gets destroyed by Jacksonville's defense. What did he throw? 2 interceptions.
He threw 3 picks, but
3 interceptions
in the fourth quarter. He balled out.
Well, he's a great fourth quarter quarterback.
He is a great fourth quarter quarterback.
He just broke Eli Manning's record of single season fourth quarter touchdown passes.
Yeah, no, he kills it. But it's very interesting. I'm intrigued to see how this all plays out in the next 3 weeks. We're gonna have some important Week 17 games, which that's what you would want. Some of these times, this stuff is just kind of throwaway game at the end of the season. But there's going to be some really intriguing ones. You look over at the AFC, and it's just basically the Patriots and the Steelers, the only 2 teams that really jump off. The Jaguars again, but Blake Bortles is Blake Bortles. He's
Buffalo's
been playing.
a wild card team.
Yeah, right
Don't
now.
count out Buffalo.
Right now,
Yeah,
I
count
want to
out
say the Ravens would get in over Buffalo.
No, I'm looking at the playoff picture right
It
now.
is,
Buffalo would get in.
Okay, so last
Buffalo
week
and
was the
Tennessee.
Ravens, and they both ended up. Well, the Bills ended up winning, so yeah, that makes sense. But that's all going to change. All those last wild card teams, they all kind of suck, to be honest. I mean,
The Chargers, I don't think are that good.
I disagree. I think the Chargers are a team you have to worry about.
Really?
They started out 0-4, and they're 7-6.
Say that again?
They started out 0-4, and they're 7-6.
Wow.
Yeah, they've won 7 of their
And
last 9.
Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen are balling out. That defense is very, very underrated. They have 2 of the best pass rushers in the league in Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. That's a team that's the 3rd team in the AFC, if I were to rank them, that I would be scared of depending on how they play down the stretch. If they get into the playoff as a wild card, that's the team the Patriots and the Steelers would not want to play. Another team is the Ravens. Not because I think the Ravens are great, but Joe Flacco has winning pedigree. Harbaugh knows how to win in the playoffs, and that defense is very, very solid despite them losing Jimmy Smith. And we've seen the Ravens and the Patriots just go out at it for the last 7 years.
I feel like these are teams that also you're remembering. I mean, these are familiar teams is what I'm trying to say. Like you said, Flacco's got a winning pedigree as well as does Drew Brees. I mean, all these other people that are competing for a spot here, they have playoff experience is one thing that really ties them in. That's why all their teams, they're getting behind these teams. They know this is lockdown mode. They know this is the toughest time of the season. So this is where you're going to see your best football out of these types of players. Or for Carson's Wentz behalf, thank you. You'll see it on the other side, and there will be an injury.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened to Wentz.
It's very unfortunate what's happening in the NFL this year.
A lot of injuries. It's the nature of the
Everybody.
game, man.
It's the year of the backup.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's what I'm saying. It's
I
the nature
wouldn't.
of the beast.
I wouldn't be surprised if Brady goes down with an injury. I wouldn't be surprised if Roethlisberger goes down.
I mean, yes, but when you look at all of these guys who were injured, the quarterbacks in particular, what do they all have in common? They're all running quarterbacks. They're all guys who like to run out of the pocket and kind of take those big hits. Because there have been plenty of times before Wentz tore his ACL where I watch him take a hit and I'd be like, is he getting up? Because he throws his body around. Now, that's tough.
Right.
That's to be applauded. You want that in a competitor, but there comes a time where you go, dude, protect yourself. Yeah. And he dove into the end zone recklessly and got crunched by 2 guys. What do you expect, man? It's going to come back to Bruce, and it did. Yeah. And you look at guys like Mariota, struggled with injuries his entire career.
Which is
Carr,
very sad.
Yeah. I mean, and he's just terrible this year. That offensive coordinator and that offense in general, I have no idea what to do. Again, they're the worst 8-5 team I have ever seen. They do not deserve to be in the playoffs, and they might squeak in the playoffs because the AFC sucks.
Yeah, the AFC is very bad, which last year it was the opposite. Last year it was the complete opposite. I feel like.
No, I mean, the Giants were a wild card team at 11-5 last year in the NFC.
That's true. Did a 10-win team miss the playoffs?
That was 2 years ago. The 10-6 Jets missed the playoffs 2 years ago.
Wasn't it the AFC West?
The AFC West had the Chiefs and the Raiders made the playoffs,
and the Broncos missed. They had 10 wins.
I don't think they had. I think they were 9-7.
Really? I thought they were. I thought they got 10.
I think they were 9-7. But either way, you're only
Either
talking
way,
about a
yeah.
game. They were a solid team that missed it. But again, Trevor Siemian going to the playoffs, and at that point, Derek Carr had already broke his leg. So the Raiders went to the playoffs with Connor Cook, and they lost to the Texans, which was like okay.
Yeah. And Deshaun Watson, so sad. Yeah. Super Bowl prediction, Nick?
Super Bowl prediction right now? I mean,
now, because this changes every week because of injuries.
It really does, man. I love the Rams.
I do think the Rams are for real. I'd love to see Rams-Jaguars. That would be crazy.
With what the Saints have been doing, I think the Saints, the Vikings, the Rams are teams from the NFC now with Carson Wentz down that really intrigue me. And again, I'm going to narrow it down to the Patriots and the Steelers with the sleeper team being the Chargers. But the Chargers, again, have to continue this hot streak. They've won 4 in a row, and they've been playing incredibly well. So they need to win this week to kind of secure that down because this is an important game against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. That's a very tough place to go and play. But they got Phillip. Phillip Rivers is one of the most underrated quarterbacks of our time, along with Tony Romo, another person who was very underrated, who dragged crappy teams to playoff contention every single year.
But he fumbled
I don't care.
the hold.
I don't care.
He fumbled the hold. Yeah.
That was so funny, though.
Yeah, that was great. So you're saying your sleeper team or your team that you're picking is the...
Okay, so I'm going to go with the Steelers versus the Saints.
I would have picked the Steelers 2 weeks ago.
Steelers versus the Saints, and I'm not a huge Steelers believer. You look at their record and you go, 11-2, they must be great. They play down to their competition.
They do.
Consistently,
Yep.
and it is one of the most frustrating things.
So do the Giants, though.
But the Giants suck. The Steelers are
But
good.
even last year.
The Giants sucked last year.
That's true. We were terrible. I don't know. We were
They
one
had
of the
a good
worst
defense.
11-5 teams ever.
They had a good defense. That's what it was.
Which I don't understand how that
Yeah, they had a really good defense
changed.
and attitude, culture, all that, losing, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
I believe they maximized their potential last year. This year, they kind of played a little bit less than what I think their talent level is. If that makes sense.
Do you think they'll get back up to that?
I mean, it's too early to tell. We don't know who their head coach is going to be. We don't know what the culture of that room is going to be.
It's going to be. Oh my God! Why am I drawing a blank on this? We were just talking about it yesterday.
The head coach,
Josh McDaniels.
I would love that. Yeah. I think again the Giants' job. Yes, there's a lot of holes on this roster, but there's still a lot of core players that you can build around.
There's
OBJ,
a lot.
Landon Collins. There's a lot of people you can build around.
Janoris Jenkins is a great underrated cornerback.
I don't know if he's underrated anymore, but I think a lot of people know about him. But Josh McDaniels has been waiting for a job to open up since he floundered in Denver, and it didn't work out. He had the job when he was like 36. Now he's in his 40s. He's been waiting for something like this. Will he leave Bill Belichick? Is he waiting for Bill Belichick to retire? That's kind of the big question that's on a lot of people's minds. But this is a top job.
Bill Belichick will not retire for a long time.
The Giants is a top job.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it's one of the most revered jobs, and despite ownership getting rid of McAdoo in 2 years, they're one of the more loyal owners in the league. They don't meddle too much with the team. It's a dream job in a dream market, and it's one of the most revered franchises in the history of the NFL. So if he's going to leave, this would be it.
It's going to be interesting.
We have a top 2
Is his contract up over there?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No. You can leave your contract if it's for a better position.
Oh,
and
really?
the head coach is a better, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How's it going over there?
It's going great. I was waiting for you to ask me my Super Bowl prediction.
I was about to.
I was going to come back with to yours anyway. But I think, is it cliche to say, Nick, I see on Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh gets past New England.
I think it's going to come down to who has home field.
Hopefully, I'm on Jacksonville's bandwagon, though, and if they're going to get them in the first game, then it's going to be the winner of that game.
This is all I got to say.
The winner of that playoff game, and hopefully
You're talking about Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, and then Blake Bortles.
And Blake Bortles.
Now, I know Blake Bortles has been playing better the last couple weeks, but still, man.
He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
You're going to talk about a Bill Belichick defense.
Get hot at the right time.
Scheming.
You know the magic of this. You know
I do.
how this happens.
I do. And it's not, I don't think it's the most impossible thing, because who knows? What if he does take that next step? You know, you don't know, but I am not going to take a Blake Bortles-led team on the road
Tom Brady.
in Foxborough or in Pittsburgh.
Fair. Tom Brady just lost to Miami.
Granted, the Jaguars did beat Pittsburgh in
Yes, but
Pittsburgh
Tom
this
Brady
year.
can't win in Miami.
Yeah, he struggles
He
in
really
Miami.
can't.
And
So
that's
it's
a
kind of
divisional
assumed that
matchup,
he's going to
yeah.
lose one a year.
All right, well,
They really struggle in Miami for
Yeah,
whatever reason.
it's
I
crazy,
feel
honestly.
like Pittsburgh and Seattle is too.
I counted out Seattle.
I
They got all
wouldn't-
their injuries.
I wouldn't like that, but I mean, I feel like it's a possibility. 'Cause I
It's a
know-
rematch.
'cause he's an MVP, isn't he?
Who? Russell?
Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook.
He,
Well,
he might win.
Wilson,
I think he
Wilson.
should. I think he should win.
I mean,
MVP.
Dan, that's got to account for something, can it not?
The team is too beat up
I also
on both
see
sides of the ball.
I see the Saint, the
Yeah,
Saints, the winner of the Saints
Russell Wilson.
series as well, whoever they play.
Yeah.
Because right now they're in line to play the Falcons, as you said. So
I don't think the Falcons go back.
I don't know. I don't know.
No,
if they
neither
have
do
enough.
I.
I don't know. I don't think so.
But
the
again-
I'd like to see the Rams in their first season in LA.
The second season.
Yeah.
Second season?
Yeah, Jeff Fisher was the first
So
coach there, yeah.
What
Now, here's something for you, and I'm sure you guys have heard it. It's very popular on Twitter. Jeff Fisher, one of the worst head coaches of this era. Want to know his 3 quarterbacks last year? Jared Goff was an MVP candidate. Case Keenum is an MVP candidate. And Nick Foles. And
Wow.
he couldn't do anything with all 3 of them.
Wow.
And I know
Well,
that
we
that
don't
statement...
know. We don't know if Nick Foles is going to pan out yet. That hasn't.
Hey,
We haven't seen that in action yet.
Oh.
He's not going to be 2013 Nick Foles.
No.
I promise you that. I'm sorry, Eagle fans. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's not happening. You can't expect it to happen. That's 4 years ago. How many teams has he played for since then? What, two or 3?
He's been to the Chiefs and the Rams. Now
Chiefs
back
and
with the
Rams.
Eagles.
So 2. He's been on 2 different teams with different head coach now. It was Chip Kelly when he was there, right?
Yep.
So I don't think they're going to be a real contender.
No, I mean, I honestly don't. I mean, I think they're going to contend because I think that team is a very good team, but I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl because they have a lot of injuries on that offensive line. Jason Peters' absence, Carson Wentz would literally make that absence look like it was non-existent. Halapuli Vatae is a rookie tackle.
What was that?
Halapuli Vatae. But
Okay,
they
tell
have
me
to
about this
scheme.
guy.
They
Tell
have
me
to
about this
scheme
guy.
around him because he is not a quality starting offensive lineman at this point in his career. Jason Peters is a Hall of Famer, and he goes down. Now you're replacing this mobile Carson Wentz MVP candidate quarterback with Nick Foles. It's not ideal, but Nick Foles is a better backup than the majority of backups in the league, as I think Geno Smith is a better backup than the majority of backups in this league. Let us not forget. Some of these backups, before, like Case Keenum was a backup for the majority of his career. Now he's having an MVP season.
Hanging out now, right? Late, yeah.
So sometimes these guys just need a chance. Now I'm not saying Foles is one of those guys,
Right.
but I don't think it's the end of the world that Foles is starting.
Understand. Fair point.
I would love to see the Rams come out of the NFC. I would absolutely love it. I've always been big on the Rams. I just think that once they got rid of their head coach, it was going to click. That's what I've thought for the
Fisher,
longest time. Because Jeff Fisher is statistically the worst coach of all time, I believe.
I think actually no, he's tied. He needs
He's
one.
tied?
He needs one more loss, and so
No.
it's funny. So it's like you're not even the worst at being the worst. Like
Oh my
you're tied
God,
at being the
he's
worst.
tied
So you
at
can't do
being
anything
the
right,
worst.
Jeff Fisher. No, it's kick Jeff Fisher while he's down year. It definitely is. But before we
good. He's never going to have another job.
No, not as a
as a
head
head
coach. Hell no. But before we get out of here, I needed to, and I know you guys probably talked about it, but I needed to bring up to both of you, Jean, Carlo, Stan, Nikki, take it away.
Yes.
Nikki, take it away. Well, I think on behalf of John Carlos Stanton, I think the only word that comes to mind is appropriate. I mean, you look at this man. You look at the capability of what this guy can do with a baseball bat in his hands. The National League MVP, sure, and all this power, sure, but now, he finessed the Miami Marlins, I feel like. He called their bluff. He said, listen, we're giving you 2 options. We are either trading you or you are going to have a miserable, miserable season next year with us because we are rebuilding. We want you gone, and that's the end of it. You're either going to St. Louis or you're going to San Francisco. 2 teams, by the way, that I am not so sure on if they will make the playoffs next season. Marcelo Zuna helps, though. I'll get to that in a little bit. And he says, all right, go ahead, do it. calls their bluff. They don't move him. He ends up on the New York Yankees with one of the fastest rising stars I think we might ever see in the sport of baseball. Now, look at this Yankees team. You see how deep it is. I think it's a great move for Stanton. I hate it, of course, as a Met fan.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I'm sure everybody who has any kind of relationship towards the Yankees will absolutely love this move, and as they should, because I'd be jumping in the streets if I had just got landed the MVP of the National League for absolutely nothing. For pocket change, for a bag of baseballs, and the can of spray paint that they used to clean the bases. That's what they got for Giancarlo Stanton. $250 million in his contract. An MVP, 60 home runs, just about 59. What more do you want? And now him and Aaron Judge are back-to-back in the Yankees lineup. The only thing I could adjust to it is what I keep saying is that of course you'd be excited for it. Who wouldn't be? You still have to play the game. You still have to play baseball. He can hit
with his expectations too. Now. We didn't have those last year.
Right, exactly. You're right, exactly. That's why it's so exciting for you guys now.
It is.
You did not expect what happened the last year to happen.
This team could crumble under pressure.
It could very well crumble. Stanton could bat 210 and hit. Be lucky if he hits 30 home runs. You never
30's still a good number.
No, but it's not for Stanton. Not when he hit 60 the year before.
It's not worth what he's being paid, but it's still.
What if Aaron Judge has a sophomore slump and bats 250 with 20? You don't
300
know.
Strikeouts.
You don't. Yeah, you don't know what could happen. Severino could go down in the first week and have Tommy John surgery.
That's my main thing with the Yankees right now. We need to get another Sonny Gray type of pitcher.
Thank you.
If we can't land like a huge pitcher, which I totally understand. I know Cashman.
You don't think Jordan Montgomery's going to?
I think Jordan Montgomery's a good 4. But
you think so?
I think he's a good 4, but that's what he is.
Number 4.
He's a very solid. He's very solid 5. But if something happens to Severino, Tanaka, we know his elbow has had issues. You're looking at Jordan Montgomery stepping into that. Yeah, Sonny Gray's being your number 1, and Sonny Gray's not an ideal 1. Sonny Gray could be a solid 2 in my mind. As a 3, that is very.
I think he is the 2 actually in the Yankees rotation. I think Severino might have a step over him.
I think Severino's the 1, bro.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. I think
Tanaka's the 2.
I think Tanaka should be the 3.
I'm not opposed to that either, but I could make an argument either way there.
But I don't think that's very deep. I think Tanaka.
He had a good year. That's it.
He had an okay year.
He had an okay year. I don't think it was that good.
I don't think it was very, very great. It wasn't like we've seen in the past. But I mean,
and the Yankees also need.
I don't think he's also going to be the same pitcher as he was. But
yeah, the Yankees also need this bullpen to live up because Betances and Chapman both had their struggles last year.
Exactly. I mean,
Canely played out of his mind last year.
He's not going to do it again.
I mean, it's yet to be seen, but I mean, he
He
exceeded
could.
expectations last year.
Exactly.
Especially down the stretch.
I mean, everybody on the team really exceeded expectations.
That's a good point. Yeah.
There's talk that the Yankees are after more, and who knows what can happen.
I think
you need a pitcher. And honestly, I think your lineup only goes deep up to the number 5 hitter. Maybe the 6, maybe.
I would say 6, man. I mean, once you start getting, we don't know what Gleyber Torres has yet. He's more than likely going to be starting.
You think he's going to be on the roster first day?
Yes, I mean, I would.
Unless there's another option at second base in free agency,
and you also have third base you have to worry about too.
By the Angels.
You also have third base you have to worry about. I mean, it's just going to be Torres.
No, I think it would be Torres over Torres.
They also have Andrew Har, who's another prospect that could come up eventually.
Loaded farm system.
Yes, absolutely loaded.
I've noted this before. Brian Cashman absolutely won the trade deadline.
And you got a guy like Clint Frazier who can't even crack the lineup right now. Not even close to cracking the lineup.
Well, he'd be starting every day.
The thing is,
injuries are going to happen.
Anywhere else, pretty much anywhere else.
Pretty much anywhere else, yeah.
Low part of the lineup, but yes.
I know the Yankees would love to shed Ellsbury's salary, but nobody's going to
No one's going to want it. He's going to be a bench player. He's going to be their veteran. I think Gardner's going to be the same way because you're going to have a hard time getting Gardner in and out of that lineup too, which I think might be a problem because he's a player that the Yankees need to have, regardless of age. He is getting older, but he's still. If you look at that Yankees lineup, he's the only one that still has any type of speed.
Right.
Well, Ellsbury obviously, but Didi. Didi Gregorius,
Didi too. But still, you need more than just that 1-2 punch.
I don't think.
No. I don't think. I think what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be Gardner, and that's where it gets.
How fast is Torres? I mean, not Torres.
I don't know.
Gleyber Torres.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I don't watch too much minor league baseball.
I don't think I've ever seen it televised.
But I know he's highly regarded. But you have Gardner.
Yep.
And then who do you bat at 2? Because I've heard people make the argument for Judge. I've heard people make the argument for Berg, for Didi. Where do you go?
Definitely not Greg Bird.
I think it should be Didi, but
I think it should be Didi.
I do too, but I could see it being Aaron Judge at number 2.
yeah. See, okay, but like in my
He'd be an
I
ideal
wouldn't be.
3.
I wouldn't.
But
be,
I would do that. I would put Didi batting second.
I wouldn't be like
might
so
even leave
opposed
him
to
off.
Judge at 2. I really.
Where's Gardner playing?
I wouldn't be, but
Where?
okay, in a perfect
Center?
world. Wait, what's up?
Where's Brett Gardner playing in the lineup?
It would be center field.
He's got to play center field.
He's got to play center.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
He would. I feel like
That's his second position. He will play center field.
Oh yeah,
He
he's
plays
a
it
center
every-
field. You could play.
You
center
said Brett
field.
Gardner, right?
Brett Gardner.
Yeah, center.
He could play center.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. But okay, so you have Gardner, Didi, Judge, Stanton, Sanchez. Find me a top 5 that's better than that. You can name the Astros. They're I don't know about comparable, but they're incredibly talented with their 2 big guns that they have down there. And then you got Bird. I feel like that's reliable as well.
No, I wouldn't say yet because I haven't seen much.
Well,
out of him.
injuries. That's why.
Well, yeah, that is why. That's
But when
exactly why.
he has been healthy,
if he's healthy, yeah,
he's been he's hitting bombs.
And again, the Yankees aren't done because you're going to have to find a third baseman.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Possibly a second.
You have 2 very big holes right now. Yeah, your outfield might be the Great Wall of China for all it can be, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be.
Murderers Row 2.0.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if we pulled the trade off by shipping Ellsbury out
How
and
bad
keeping
is
Starlin
his contract?
Castro?
How bad is
It was
his
pretty
contract?
bad. I want to
Do
say
you
it was
know
like
the numbers?
$160 million when he signed it. I don't know how much he has left on it.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what.
He never lived up
I
to
think
it
there
either.
are a few lineups that might be up there better.
Astros.
Yeah, Astros is there. The Colorado Rockies are still there. I'm sorry, and so are the Arizona Diamondbacks. This team is, especially last year, around the end of the season, they don't have JD Martinez anymore, so maybe not. But
Do you
still
think
2
that
lineups.
up there with that though, especially in the hitter-friendly park that Yankee
Well,
Stadium is?
Well, yes, okay. They're going to have a field day in Yankee Stadium. They are.
really are.
And now these are let's 2 players, 3 maybe if you want to count Gary Sanchez, that probably do not need, a stadium that way. Like it's not going to matter either or, but it definitely does help when this guy's hitting a routine fly ball out to right field, and it bounces over the head and bounces over the wall. I mean, it's. And a fly out, an F9 turns into a home run.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's just because of how much power they have, but that's, how fair is that? But
A line
I don't-
drive turns into a home run.
I don't mean to change the subject at all, but this kind of relates to everything. What's your opinion on Jeter? Do you think he was just kind of boxed into a corner?
I want to know why everybody is giving him. I don't know why.
I don't know why he bought the team first.
He's under a hot. Well, he's in Miami.
He's
I mean, I can
rebuilding.
see why.
But that team,
I didn't
dude,
think that.
is-
But he has it just to have it. I mean, same with Jordan with the Hornets. What moves does he really make? He doesn't make any. Like they don't do that. That's not their job. Jeter probably has. I'm sure they go to him for some baseball knowledge. I would assume they would, considering the credentials that he has.
End of the day, he's the owner of the team.
Correct. So
yeah.
he finalizes every move pretty much. Yes, I agree with that. But as far as actually competing and really pushing and being, what's that word? Being I forgot the word, but aggressive as far as making moves. I don't know exactly if he's doing all that.
See,
but it definitely helps.
I felt like he spoke out of both sides of his mouth at one point because he was telling like there were reports that he said that told Stanton that he wanted them to be a part of the long-term deal, but then at the same time we know that his main objective was to shed salary. You really can't do that when you have Stanton's salary on your books.
And what rebuilding team is going to want his contract? Really? So I feel like he had to be shipped out for a little bit, like in return. I don't think it could have been a blockbuster deal to where I don't know if he would have went to L.A. They get.
Well, Stanton had the no trade clause too, so he named.
Well,
the
he
four
would have.
teams.
Yeah.
Right,
L.A. was one of the 4.
That was another point. It was.
Yeah, it was, who was it? It was L.A., the Astros, us, and the Cubs. Right?
It was
the Cubs, which again,
everybody that made the championship.
which was I was gonna say that before. I mean, he gives out 4 teams. Look at the 4 teams that he made. The Astros are the World Series champions.
Guy wants to win.
Good for him. He deserves it.
Cubs, he does deserve it. I hate that it's getting so greedy, but I understand it. I mean, he's 27 years old. The man should know what it means to play in the postseason. But same argument could be made for Mike Trout. Why hasn't he seen playoff atmosphere yet? I could argue that this could be the year for him. I would need a pitcher on the Angels first.
You would need Ohtani.
That's
to
not
have his
Shinsuke
UCL.
Ohtani.
Yeah.
But because now there's reports that he might
have an elbow
physically
injury.
physically
Unable to perform.
Yes, correct. So that's a big step. If he needs Tommy John, that's not good.
No.
But still, other than that,
How do you not know that before you sign him?
I agree. Well, pending the physical, that's how they found out. But I agree. So now I guess you have to sign him, then go through the physicality, all that stuff, all that fun paperwork, whatever it is. But I think they need a pitcher. I could see Zach Greinke fitting in nicely there. I think that would be a great touch for them. CeCe's a veteran. I know he's been talking to a few teams. I don't know if really the Angels need a veteran like that, though, because CeCe's a little bit inconsistent. And I know for a fact, I'm sorry to two Yankee fans here, you're not getting the same year out of CeCe Sabathia than you got last year.
Well, I mean, he's not a Yankee right now.
He's not going to be a Yankee. Yeah, fair, good point.
I don't think he is.
But I hope teams know that and really kind of take it with a grain of salt.
I mean, I think that's why he's exploring other options, because the Yankees only are willing to give him a 1-year deal where he wants more security.
I hear he's interested in Toronto, and I don't know why Toronto would want to do that. Because they need pitching help. And again, CeCe is not the answer. I think there's many better options out there.
We're talking a lot about the Yankees, and I remember last offseason, everyone was talking about the Mets, and no one was really talking about the Yankees. So now, let's, instead of going on an Aaron Boone discussion, what is your honest opinion of the Mets?
What is my honest opinion of the Mets? Well, besides the fact they put out a AAA team last year at the end of the season?
Yes.
I hate to play the card, but I mean, I got to do it. It's got to be the injury card. I mean, I
agree with you.
It's very hard when you only have a limited number of games where you see your full team in full form, in full compact. You don't see what the full roster can do all the time, and it's very frustrating. It's so hard to deal with because your expectations coming into the season are so high. And then things like Noah Syndergaard going down 3 starts into his young season, and that's pretty much the season right there. Matt Harvey's never the same. DeGrom can only do it so much. He still had 15-10 record, which isn't bad in my eyes on the New York Mets because his ERA was relatively low. But it's embarrassing when you put out a AAA team at the end of the season, and teams, you get past the All-Star game, and teams say they see your name on the schedule and they automatically think it's a win. It's very frustrating. It's kind of like the New York Giants this year. If you're on the schedule, it's basically a win, and it's horrible. And when you're noticing that at the All-Star game in July, and then the trade deadline approaches the month after, it's so tough. It very is. Again, especially I'm really hoping, and what even frustrates me more, we see teams like the Yankees got Stanton. The Yankees are talking to Garrett Cole of the Pirates. CeCe's even getting looked at. Ian Kinsler got signed to the Angels. Marcell Ozuna got traded to the Cardinals, which is huge. Where are the Mets in any of these discussions? I hear the Yankees name time and time again. I hear all these same teams that want to compete. Why don't the Mets want to compete? We should. We have a fresh new face in manager spot. Our team is not horrible if you think about it. But a move most certainly needs to be made.
Yes.
And it's not. And we just sit back and just let whoever fought to us. And we're going to end up with Mike Napoli at first base instead of Mike Moustakas at third base or Lorenzo Cain in center field. It's stuff like that. It's
Did
stuff
you guys
like
hear
that?
It's a hard knock life to be a Mets fan.
Wow.
But again, a move or two away, if we actually make these moves, it's not going to be such a hard life for us this season.
It's the Mets, though.
I understand
That's the thing.
I understand that, but,
Bunch of gumballs running that team.
Okay. I mean, I disagree. I think Cashman's a...
Gumball?
No, Moneybag's over there, but I'm not going to... I mean, I don't know what else word to use. And who's your manager now? Aaron Boone?
Yeah.
That's funny. I can't really make a managerial comment because I'm kind of in the same boat. I have no
you
idea
got-
what Mickey Callaway can do. He was a pitching coach for the Indians is what all I know.
Yeah, but he stabilized a lot of pitchers out there.
No, he did. Oh, he
Yeah.
definitely did.
Yeah.
But I mean, how
And
well
you guys
is-
have the talent to
how,
do it. It's
how
just-
well is that gonna reciprocate a managerial role? Now you're looking
Yeah.
for the whole team.
the
It's not
concern.
just pitching now, hitting too.
I gotta say though,
and,
man, I'm going to miss Terry Collins'
I didn't mind Terry. He did what he could with a very mediocre lineup. I don't think that's for him to blame.
I'm just going to miss his postseason comments.
Oh, John Tortorella. Yeah, it's John Tortorella.
Oh, yeah, his postgame. He can't even formulate words, Terry.
And he yells a lot, too. Very angry.
Why? Yeah, no. But Aaron Boone, I mean, that guy, talk about a guy who inherited a Lamborghini for his first driving experience. It's absolutely ridiculous. Could you fall into a better situation as a new manager?
No, not
But you
at all.
better put it together, because if you don't...
That's what
You're
I'm saying.
gone.
But then again, this is his first year ever at being a manager in Major League Baseball. And, okay, yes, right, Lamborghini as for your first car. You look at the lineup he gets. But it's very easy to mess that up.
Yeah.
What if he could do a lot of things wrong and not really know what to do. He could crack under the New York pressure, or the pressure that comes with being manager of the New York Yankees. I got to say, Girardi did handle it very well. Very professional manager, Girardi was.
I feel bad for Girardi. I think he kind of got hosed.
I could see him ending up in the organization or as a manager.
I think it was I mean, you don't do that well and exceed expectations that much and then get fired if it wasn't a huge disagreement between him and Cashman or him and somebody in that front office.
Fair.
And he might have been rubbing the guys the wrong way. There were reports coming out that he didn't relate to the players enough and all this kind of bull crap. Right. I like Girardi. I know he made that egregious mistake in the playoffs, but it ended up not coming back to bite the Yankees. Yeah. And I know some of his pitching, how he handled pitchers sometimes wasn't perfect, but I think he exceeded expectations every year he was here as a manager. I think he did more than what he was given every single season. Yeah, and I don't think you can really replace that.
No, you can't. You can't replace Hart, that's for sure. He has a lot of it. We'll see what Aaron Boone can do. I mean, a lot of discussions, a lot of questions. I mean, obviously, because we're only in December, and we really want to get to April already to see. I mean, got to give it time, and we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, man.
Aaron Boone's going to have to develop some relationship with these players, find out what they could do. Again, it's just as easy to fall down as it is easy to build it up. So we will see. Mets season should be exciting as well.
Very philosophical over there.
Thank you.
Do you think the Mets are going to make any moves?
Oh, my God, they have to. They don't have a choice.
Do you think they make the playoffs if they don't make any moves?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
I don't really think they make the playoffs unless they really get...
No, do you think... I don't even think your team's going to stay healthy the whole year.
Well, again...
What makes you think they would?
I don't, but that's... I mean, it's a huge concern. Because, I'm not really worried about Syndergaard. I think he's back. I'm not worried about DeGrom. I never have been. Cespedes is always a concern. Conforto's missing the first month of the season for dislocating his shoulder on a swing and miss, might I add.
What a way to dislocate your shoulder.
Oh, it was... I remember watching the game. He went down, and I said, there it goes. Now it's officially nail in the coffin. And the reports after the game was he might miss opening day next year. He could be out for a very long period of time. And there you go. And it's
how is that shoulder dislocation?
How are the Mets gonna? How can you rebound from that? He's our star player. He is our Aaron Judge, and I know you two are going to sit here and tell me that it's not. Well, it's not the same. You're right, and you're going to sit here and tell me that Aaron Judge is better, but it's different. It's very different. Michael Conforto was not supposed to hit 55 home runs with 130 RBIs in Citi Field. Not supposed to do that, but he is doing what he's supposed to do. When he went down, he got 290, 310, whatever the hell it was, with a modest 25 home runs.
So he's Didi Gregorius? A lesser Didi Gregorius?
No, but see, no.
Yeah, I mean...
Didi bats at 310.
You say it like that's something that, like, a superstar...
He was around that at parts. I don't know if he finished the season like that.
Didi also turned it on in the second half of the season. I get it. It's a long season, but he was not very impressive in the beginning at all.
Yeah, he ended up batting 287.
That's why I'm saying...
Wow, 25 home runs on the
Your
dot.
lineup isn't... It's scary.
I understand.
In the heart of it.
I understand where you're going. Yes.
I'm not really worried about Gardner anymore. I'm not really worried about Didi. I can pitch around Didi. It's getting to the three monsters that are going to take a number on my team.
But that is like you can't pitch around those smaller players now.
You can't
because of the monsters. Those three just
they're
huge men.
But again, you don't know because I feel like these things have happened in the past. I'm sure there was a year when Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz had a horrible duo back-to-back 3-4 combos.
No, I know. Yeah.
I'm sure there was a year there. I'm sure there was a year that Prince Fielder and Ryan Braun are probably a little different. I'm trying to think of duos now. I can't even think of trios. The last trio that I remember is probably either David Ortiz, Manny, and Pedroia, or it would be Lance Berkman, Craig Biggio, and Jeff Bagwell.
What about Carlos Correa and the other ones they have over there in Houston?
Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve.
Yeah.
I don't know who the third would be.
I was trying to think of who the third would be.
It's not Brian McCann. It's not
Brian
not
McCann.
Evan Gaddis. It's not Josh Reddick. It will be Bregman in a few years. In a few years, I feel like it will be.
What about the Royals with Hosmer?
Well, Hosmer's
Hosmer, Moustakas, and
No, I mean back.
I love that duo. That team when they were the World Series team. What a deep team that was.
Yeah, so
I loved it. That team was amazing.
I knew that.
I mean, they weren't Judge Stanton when it came to just like huge, powerful home run.
Yeah,
hitting
they were
men,
just
but they
deep
were just
1
good
through 9.
Oh yeah, they were.
Baseball.
They were good. Salvador Perez, a catcher, in my opinion, one of the best in the league. Hosmer, Moustakas, Lorenzo Cain, Alcides Escobar was not bad. Billy Butler at DH wasn't bad. Alex Gordon.
They all did their job. It was
what
amazing.
a shame. I love Alex Gordon, but he just never. He has not panned out. Another injury-stricken year because when he was healthy, he had one very, very good year. I remember for the Royals. But speaking of the Royals, to hear what Danny Duffy said with all these winter meetings and stuff like that, and you see Greed coming in with money and contracts and whatever. He said, "Bury me a Royal." Danny Duffy. So gotta love the loyalty there. Bury me a Royal. Gotta love the loyalty. Damn it! I even said it out. I still love you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Guys. Thanks, guys.
Anything else going on in the world of sports?
I have one more comment, a closing remark.
Okay.
Because we didn't touch on this. We really only touched on the Rangers today. The Las Vegas Golden Knights. You know that expansion team that came in 2017-2018 season?
Yeah, I know who
Pacific
that is.
Division?
I know who you're talking about.
Nick, you're aware?
I am.
Okay, they're for real. So get to know them.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game.
Get to know them for a few
Malcolm, Fleury's
years.
back.
Yeah, I love Malcolm though.
Yeah, he's going to be really good.
Kevin Weeks.
Oh, no. He's going to have a similar career to Kevin Weeks. I'm not a fan of Malcolm Subban.
Why?
Not a fan. Don't think he's that good.
No, okay.
Good run right now. Wasn't that horrible in Boston.
How old is he? He's like 23?
No, he's very young. He's got some
22? He's got time.
He's got time.
Goalies aren't good until they're, 28, 29, 30?
Yeah, later in their years, yeah. Lundqvist was good, really. Lundqvist was good, really. He had a good career.
Yeah. But he was great
But
when early 30s.
I think now is the time where we're starting to see what the playoff picture is going to be like come April, with a few probably teams, give or take, that'll be showing their faces. But I think the Golden Knights are for real, and I think everybody.
The Jets are for real.
Yep, I love Winnipeg. Been
Nashville's
singing
for
their
real
praises
again.
for a while.
Love that trade that they got Turris.
Kyle Turris.
That's a great trade.
Well,
that is an incredible trade.
They're
for
winning
them.
that trade right now, and just wait until Colorado wins, because I'll tell you somebody who definitely lost that trade.
Ottawa.
The Ottawa Senators.
They did. But great on Colorado for flipping Duchesne for a first, second, third round pick. And
Steven
3 players?
Gerrard and Steve Gerrard.
And Gerard.
Steven Gerrard.
Good on them. Wow.
Very good. Very strong. So,
Yeah.
playoff time. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right.
All right. Closing remarks. I believe that is that. Remember, they always come back to haunt.
Any hauntings? No.
I found
Any
the
to
page-
look forward to?
What's the schedule tonight?
I think
Do
it's
we
a
play
big
the
one.
Rangers don't play tonight. They play
No,
tomorrow.
but is today the game where Fleury goes back to Pittsburgh?
There's the kid with the day pick.
Yeah.
Is that today?
No. I don't think so. Capitals and Bruins, Buffalo and Philly, the Islanders and Columbus, the Devils and the Canadiens, the Ducks and the Blues, Toronto and Minnesota, Chicago and Winnipeg. There's hauntings right there. Dustin Byfuglien is out of that game.
Yes, he is.
My
IR spot.
But I'm sure there's another one in there. I'll find Colorado and Florida, Calgary and San Jose, the Predators in Edmonton. Great game.
That is a good
Tampa
game.
Bay and Arizona, and the Penguins and Las Vegas on the NHL.
So there's the
Network.
haunting to look forward to right there.
Wow, a lot of games tonight.
Yeah.
A lot of games.
Something's got to be on that. That game's got to be televised.
There's
nationally
only,
televised.
There's only one, unfortunately.
What is it?
It's the, what do you call it?
Vegas, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Vegas,
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
that's the game that should be televised.
Yep, no,
NBC Sports should put on more NHL games.
I don't know why they don't.
I don't either.
I
Terrible.
feel bad for Arizona.
All right.
Wow. Arizona and Tampa Bay, just to close on this, the Lightning 22-6-2. Colorado, Arizona the complete opposite, 7-21-5. How awful is that? Okay.
Derek Stepan, rest in peace. His career, not him.
Cue the Undertaker's theme song.
There you go. All
The
right.
Reaper.
Well, that is it. That's
That's episode
it for today.
3.
That's episode 3, finally, with all 3 of us.
Whoop, whoop.
Episode 3, hat trick. Good things come in threes, I guess.
It sure
End of
does.
the
The
show.
Magic Podcast.
There you go.
Happy
Yeah.
holidays to everybody. Merry
Definitely
Christmas,
happy holidays.
Hanukkah.
It is
Happy
our
New
last
Year.
show until next semester.
Next semester.
To January. Till
Which-
the end of January.
Which will
so
we might be changing times, maybe.
might
I'm
be.
going to assume, depending on everybody's
changing
schedule,
day,
of course,
changing times.
especially
that
with
this
how the
gets
server's
posted,
going to be. So
possibly.
stay tuned. Stay
Yes.
tuned. Everybody
Could be
stay tuned.
live again, but maybe not. Could only be a pre-recorded
Are we
show.
live right now? You'll never know.
Are we? You'd have to tune
I
in
think
to
we
tune
talked
in.
about this
but-
already, but yeah, we did. My father did, by the way. He answered. He goes, "I just have music here, and it's going in and out." Completely forgot that he can't hear us.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, that is it. Episode 3. Subscribe to the podcast on Audio Boom. Give us a comment. Follow us on Twitter. And enjoy
your games.
enjoy
We
the
got a
games.
lot.
A lot of good games, and definitely watch that Pittsburgh and Vegas game. It's going to be a good game. Yeah. All right, everybody. Episode number 4 will be out in January. So until then, we'll enjoy the games.